Mr. Ben Fogle, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, mums and dads, staff, and most importantly, our students. May I start by welcoming you to our speech day today, and thank you for travelling from near or far to join us. For those of you who are watching via our live link on the internet, a hearty hello to you as well. I would firstly like to thank my school board members for their inspiration and guidance in their roles this year of challenge and support. It has been invaluable in helping us move ever onward and upward. A big thank you goes to Keena Adkins and her fabulous team of staff, both in school and in the boarding house, for being so supportive and enthusiastic in their roles, first and foremost to the students, but also to each other. My sincere thanks go to our supporting teams, such as catering, housekeeping, estates, and IT, who work year-round to help keep our campus running, no matter what the weather or regardless of the challenge that they are thrown. Please join me in a round of applause to show our appreciation to them all. So yesterday was an important day for Great Britain. The British people have voted and, by a small margin, the vote is to leave the European Union. Prior to the vote, we clearly assessed the implications of it going either way and made contingency plans for whatever the result. One reassuring fact is that our collegiate and in our totality we have no bank borrowings, not one penny. So changes in interest rates, whether up or down, will have no effect on us. We are financially secure. There will most likely be a potential small downturn in UK economic activity, but this September we expect to see a small rise in numbers of day pupils across all schools. We believe there will be further government cutbacks, and this could mean even less money for state schools and services, so independent education is clearly the right place to be. The coming days and weeks will see much rhetoric and knee-jerk comments, but things will settle and we carry on regardless. But now is not a time for politics. Back to the day in question. Time certainly seems to have flown by, and I can't believe the end of term is here already. I must admit I find our speech days incredibly inspirational and uplifting. To see the wide range and high level of achievements by our students across all schools is a true testament to the hard work put in over the year by the students themselves. Given that this is my first time to open a King's Magna speech day, I thought I would get some ideas from the student themselves as to what to include. I've been sat in their seats as a student myself here, and I know that you are simply counting down the time until the summer holidays begin. So what feedback did I get? From the Year Sixes, it was to talk about how they are going for world domination now that they have proved their management skills in the latest Young Enterprise scheme. A student in Year 7, it was why the next thing I need to build is a super awesome water park. For a student in Year 8, it was to give a big shout out to the cast and backstage crew involved in the performance of Les Mis this year, which was outstanding. And one helpful Year 9 said, "As long as it isn't boring, miss, I don't mind what you talk about." So no pressure there then. However, one student stood out for me, and she's a Year 6. I won't name her because I don't want to embarrass her, but she might recognise our conversation. As I was walking into work one day, this young lady struck up a conversation with me. When I asked her what I should include in my speech, she said, "I think you should talk about how incredible everyone has been this year, in the classroom, on the sports pitch, and in the boarding house. Talk about our achievements and how much fun it's been." Well, if you ever have a moment when you think King's Magna in a nutshell, it was then. This young lady, just Year 6, literally took the words right out of my mouth. The comment summed it up for me. Because that is exactly what we are about here, helping students to reach their potential no matter what path they may follow. Here in King's Magna, there is a strong sense of community. At the many and varied events that I attend in school, you can see that our students support one another. They are confident, they are full of character, and they continue to amaze me. As we look to improve our grades at GCSE further, King's Magna have implemented a GCSE preparation programme into Year 9. The students have responded excellently to the increased challenge, but then again, we had no doubt that they would. The curriculum has also given King's Magna the chance to shine beyond the confines of our campus. In history, some of the students were part of the QE at War project, which was eventually part of a BBC broadcast aired in October. The King's Magna Science Department went one step further and took our curriculum into orbit with the link up with NASA during our annual Space Week. In mathematics and modern foreign languages, we have also achieved recognition at national level, with the King's Magna team qualifying for the national round of the Eurofest competition for the first time, and students representing King's Magna in the national final of the Mathematics Challenge following regional successes. Sports have continued to excel, and we have been particularly competitive in ISA competitions, with swimming successes in the North of England regional finals, victory in 2 ISA basketball tournaments, on top of our usual successes in rugby and athletics. What a year! Can we please give all of our students a round of applause for their continued efforts? Personally, I find that Speech Day is a great time of reflection. What has this year shown me? It has reassured me that King's Magna and our collegiate as a whole stands on firm foundations. We are blessed with positive, enthusiastic staff members whose dedication and support of the students and each other does not go unnoticed. Our students have continued to inspire me with their confidence, their drive and their determination, and their sense of humour. But most of all, this year has shown me that there are exciting times ahead. Never one to settle, we endeavour to raise the bar continuously. We will continue to invest in improving academics and our facilities even further. Essentially, the education and care that we provide to your children is our utmost priority. The future holds opportunity for us all. To our Year 9s, the time has come for you to move up through to QE. I wish you the very best of luck. Grab every opportunity that comes your way and keep smiling. It keeps the teachers on your side. To you all, I sincerely hope you have a fun-filled summer holiday when it finally arrives. There's not long to go. And finally, may I take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Adkins for all her hard work during her time with us. She will be greatly missed when she leaves us this summer, and we wish her the best of luck in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Ben Fogle, honoured guests, Amy Martin and the Collegiate Board, parents, family and friends, good morning and welcome to King's Magna Speech Day. Today gives us a great opportunity to formally celebrate our wonderful students within King's Magna. Success comes in many forms, and we join today to congratulate all of those who have won academic prizes, but also those that demonstrate success in other ways. This has been an exceptional year, with all of King's Magna students participating in a wide range of events, including some of our traditional favourites, the school's birthday, the wonderful carol concert at Ripon Cathedral, the King's Magna Christmas dinner, King's Magna Sports Day, and our most recent tradition, our school race for life. Year 6 have completed their first year with us, and a very exciting year it has been. The year began with a team-building trip to Marrick Priory, where they developed key leadership skills whilst laying the foundations for the strong bonds of friendship that they have formed over the year. During their World War topic, Year 6 visited Edam Camp, learning about the lives and experiences of those who lived and died during that time. One of my favourite Year 6 projects is their fabulous model village, where the students work as a class to develop a model community, learning about finances and developing their persuasive and report writing skills. After a hard year working towards their SATs exams, many Year 6 students let off steam by taking part in the residential at Caythorpe. This was followed by a Young Enterprise project where students developed their entrepreneurial skills. They raised £155 at their stalls for the Teenage Cancer Trust, and then Amy Martin donated £40 investment, which gave a total of £195. And now on to the subject-specific successes. At the beginning of the academic year, the Performing Arts and Music Department directed the school production of Les Miserables. With a band of 18 players and a cast of over 75, this was a spectacular success. Many King's Magna students were involved in some of them in leading roles as well as in the chorus. This was the biggest production ever performed at QE and was a resounding success. In January, all Year 6 and 7 students took part in the Young Voices in Sheffield Arena as part of one of the largest choir festivals ever staged. Along with many other schools, as well as professionals, the audience were treated to 2 hours of superb entertainment. King's Magna students were, as always, a credit to the school throughout the day, learning the lyrics and singing superbly. At Aldborough May Day Festival, the King's Magna Band played its first ever gig. After overcoming various technical difficulties with equipment, the band put in a superb performance with no trace of nerves. This was then followed by solos from various band members. The band set was very well received by the crowd. As well as the ensemble performances from King's Magna Choir, Woodwind Group and Band, there was some excellent classwork from years 7 to 9, as well as some notable solo performances. The quality of all of our King's Magna students' performance was absolutely superb. Through the Performing Arts Department, a number of students have been employed on the book of Top Talent Agency and have begun securing acting and modelling work in TV, film, online and theatres. Most recently, King's Magna students have auditioned for Disney, the BBC and even Steven Spielberg's newest film. A special mention goes to Sean Morefu, Alex Stilley, Ollie Jones, Daniel Stoko and Megan Stoko, who have all successfully been employed by the professional agency. Recently, pupils took part in the King's Magna Show in a Week, a mixed-up fairy tale, which was a great success yet again, showcasing the creative skills we have within our middle school. A notable mention should be made of Dolly Turagova, who not only acted in the show, but helped to choreograph it too. I have to also mention Lewis Gibson for his enthusiasm and commitment through all the drama productions this year. Throughout the year, students who selected drama took place in completing their Bronze Award in Year 9, a nationally recognised qualification. The class received a 100% pass rate and students should be incredibly proud of securing such an achievement at such a young age. A special commendation should be given to Lisa Rolova, who the examiner commented was exceptional in her skill and eloquence. In sport, we have seen another outstanding gym and dance display, which gave 140 students the opportunity to display their skills and talents to an audience of well over 1,000. Students from all year groups and nationalities produced the best display to date, with a very high level of skill and professionalism. This year saw cheerleading for the first time, and we were delighted to welcome Kevin and Karen Clifton to the event. The display reminded us all of the huge amounts of commitment, ambition and courage our students have, and their achievements were truly remarkable. Well done to all of those involved. There are, as Miss Martin has said, a number of significant sporting team achievements this year, with the following teams winning the ISA North events, including the Under-13 mixed basketball team, Under-13 rugby sevens, Under-12 ISA National Rugby Sevens champions, and the Under-15 athletics. Whilst the Under-13 girls made the final in the final 8 in the country of the National Schools competition. In science, students took part in the very successful Space Week in October, with an unforgettable range of opportunities for students to speak with NASA engineers and past astronauts with a live link-up with America, listening to lectures from university professors from Space Agency, and the chance to design, make and launch their rockets. All of Year 8 competed in St. Peter's Physics Quiz, and with some Year 8 students also attending an afternoon of activities at Leeds University during Science Week in March. In Year 9, students attended a series of workshops given by the nuclear industry on the roles and responsibilities of individual professionals and explaining the work they carry out. In maths, John Yoon, Michael Tang, Reith Eakston and Fu Yi Zhu will be competing against teams from across the United Kingdom for this year's UK Team Maths Challenge Trophy. The team were winners in the regional final held in York and won the opportunity to compete in the national final at the Royal Horticulture Halls in London. 1,770 schools entered the competition and only 88 have qualified to take part in the final. A special mention should go to Michael Tang in Year 9, who deserves recognition for his fantastic maths skills. In the top set, Year 9 students did both GCSE maths papers as their final assessment. Michael achieved a GCSE grade A star. This year was the 400th anniversary of the death of William Shakespeare, and to bring his plays to life, the Sky Blue Theatre came into school to deliver tailored workshops to the whole of King's Magna. Our Year 6 students put on a wonderful Shakespeare performance where they showed fantastic commitment to learning so many lines and then performing it with such confidence. Year 7 students particularly enjoyed a modern take on the 7 Ages of Man from As You Like It, producing their updated versions. In prep, Year 7 completed the Saving Shakespeare project with outstanding effort from Rhys Thomas and Edward Cornforth. Developing the love of reading is very important, and so we have introduced this year a Rainbow Reading Challenge, which has been extremely successful, with a number of students' book reviews being published in magazine teen titles. Some students have completed both the standard and advanced challenges, are now shadowing books from this year's Carnegie Medal winners. Our international students have to work even harder as they develop not only their knowledge and skills for their subject, but at the same time they have to become confident and competent in speaking, listening, reading and writing in English. At the end of the year, international students in years 7 to 9 complete a language exam with fantastic results this year. In June this year, all Year 8 students were involved in the Eurofest project, our annual business and enterprise language event of all 3 languages, French, German and Spanish. After the internal competitions 2 weeks ago, 14 students had been selected to represent the school at the regional final at York St John University. For the second time, our students performed exceptionally well, winning 4 awards: Best Use of Spanish Language, Best Use of German Language, Best Multilingual Stand, and Best Overall Winning School. The German team have been selected to compete in the regional final in July, where they will present their business in the target language through a short video clip they will produce. Well done to George Burdus, Xavier Patterson and Ashley Hammond. A special mention goes to Rhys Theakston, who competed in the Intermediate UK Linguistic Olympiad competition at intermediate level, which is theoretically aimed at Key Stage 4 students. She was 2% short of gaining a bronze award and did fantastically well, showing a real awareness of language patterns and structures. The Humanities Department work hard to make sure geography and history is life relevant with active learning in and out of the classroom. This has included Year 7 going on a field trip to Helmsley, designing and creating puppet shows to demonstrate rainforest destruction, and building cardboard box creations. Whilst Year 8 students have been taking part in the Holderness Coast Geography field trip, building coastal models and building teepees in history. And Year 9 participated in a geography field trip to Malham. Amongst many of our extracurricular activities this year, 2 significant ones stand out. In January, students took part in a ski trip to the Italian Dolomites with students of all levels of skiing ability. In the evening, students took part in ice skating, tenpin bowling and karaoke, to name a few. A special mention goes to Alex Scorers for being extremely helpful and always cheerful throughout the trip. The Morocco community expedition was open to years 8 and 9, and each student took on a role during the trip roles, including budget manager, transport manager and health and hygiene manager. They stayed in accommodation on the outskirts of the town, and the project was based in a boarding school after 10 minutes walk away. During the 4 days the students were at the project, they helped tile a communal wash basin, concrete a floor, paint and plant some herbs. We have a number of students who've taken part in CCF this year. They have been busy attending 2 indoor range days, an outdoor range day, a tactical exercise over 2 days at Ripon Training Area, and then an exercise Dragons Challenge, which was an adventurous training programme over 7 days at the Snowdonian National Park. The RAF section have competed in both regional and national finals in the Air Squadron Trophy. As Year 9 complete their final year in King's Magna, we wish them all the very best as they move into Year 10. They have been preparing for the transition for some time with a Year 10 Taster Day, interviews with senior school staff, and this term a chance to experience Key Stage 4 lessons. All of Year 9 have also been working on designing their yearbook so that they can look back at their time in King's Magna fondly in years to come. What an amazing year it has been for all of our King's Magna students. You have all done an amazing job, and whether your name has been mentioned or not, you should know that we are all very proud of you. As you will know, due to my family circumstances, I am leaving at the end of this academic year, but wanted to share with you 3 very short stories that I think capture how wonderful the students in this school are and how lucky they are to have the opportunity to be part of this community. I will start with the beginning of the academic year when I had 2 very upset students arrive in my office. They were brother and sister and had arrived to the school new to the country. They were extremely homesick and found the move to a country difficult and missed their parents terribly. I have watched these 2 brave young people blossom into confident, happy and integrated children who, with the support of their staff, friends and family, have overcome the challenges and are thriving academically and socially. It is hard moving to a new school, especially when you have a language and cultural barrier to overcome. However, it is the care and love within the King's Magna community that ensures that the children here are happy, healthy and safe. The second story demonstrates that we as a school are not just here to teach students how to be academically successful, but also to develop them into polite, well-mannered and socially aware young people. As I walked in the rain to Wimbledon, I was approached in the opposite direction by a Year 9 boy who was walking clearly and with a purpose, holding an umbrella. There was no one around to witness this young man offer to walk me to the shelter of Wimbledon. As we walked, he held the umbrella over my head, leaving his free to get wet. Once safely under shelter, he returned and retraced his steps back towards his original direction to complete the job he had been asked to do. Manners and kindness will take you far in life, and I have no doubt that this young man and all of you in front of me have a bright future ahead of you. My third and final story relates to the very rigorous prefect selection process. I was stunned by the level of maturity and commitment that the Year 8 applicants had shown through the presentation task, but more so in the interviews. The way they conducted themselves throughout the process was incredible. I had the privilege of informing the successful students and received responses ranging from strong handshakes of thanks to huge hugs. It showed me how this opportunity meant to them. I watched their peers sincerely congratulate them on their achievements with pats on the back and loud round of applauses. And for those who did not get the position they hoped, the resilience and professionalism was a credit to them, because sometimes when you don't get what you want, it is hard to have a professional approach, and they did all the way through. I don't think there is an adult in this room who would like to go back to being a teenager. The challenges that you face now and in your future are significant. Social media is a blessing and a curse all at the same time. As young people, you are faced with the social pressures to impress and keep up with your peers, and yet be cautious and clever enough to keep away from some of the risks that exist online. The wonderful, diverse society you live in now will mean you are significantly more culturally aware, but also have a stronger understanding of the impact that conflict around the globe has on people. And if growing up wasn't hard enough, young teenagers have to deal with the surges of hormones, which throws your emotions in the air as you try to find and shape your own identity. And all of this with the expectation to be academically and personally successful in everything that you do. You should be very proud of yourselves for all of your achievements this year. And remember that it is not your achievements that make you who you are. It is your ability to persevere and overcome the challenges that you face in order to be the best you can be with the gifts that you have. I would like to wish all of you a wonderful summer with your friends and family, as you deserve a very well-earned rest. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard references today to the fact that Mrs. Adkins will be leaving us at the end of this academic year. And I'm sure one of the questions that's on many of your mind is what will be happening in September. And I'm pleased to announce this morning that Andrew Hutchings will be the new head of King's Magna, and I shall be writing to you in the next week to give you some details about him and his history, so that you have that information and you'll have an opportunity to meet him at the beginning of term. This has been in place for a week or two, but we've been trying to create a situation where he can start with us 1st of September, and we've been able to negotiate that with his present school because we felt it was important that we should have the new head coming in straight away. So I will write to you about that in the coming week, but today is about the previous year. It's about reviewing the year, and Mrs. Adkins has been a tremendous head during that year. She is somebody who has great energy, great compassion for the students, and she has brought a huge amount to King's Magna in the short time that she's been with us. In short, she's a whirlwind, and we've been very privileged to work with her. We are very sorry that situation is that she's not going to be able to remain with us, but she will go with our very warmest thanks and with our very best wishes for a successful future. And I've just got a little token that I would like to give her now for all of the work that she's done for us.
pitch and it's bringing me out the dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear. Go ahead and sell me out and now lay your sheep bare. See how I leave with every piece of you. Don't underestimate the things that I could do. There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch and it's bringing me out the dark. The scars of your love remind me of us again. Me thinking that we almost had it all. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. I can't help feeling we could have had it all. Rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside your hand, and you played it to the beat. I have no story to be told, but I heard on one that I'm gonna make your head mad. Think of me in the depths of your despair. Make a home down there, smile sure won't be shared. The scars of your love remind me of, and they keep me thinking that we almost had it all. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. I can't help feeling we could have had it all. Rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside of your hand, and you played it to the beat. We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside of your hand, and you played it to the beat. Throw your soul through every open door. Count your blessings to find what you're looking for. Turn my sorrow into treasure gold. You'll pay me back in kind and I'll reap your soul. We could have had it all. We could have had it all. It all, it all, it all. We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside of your hand, and you played it to the beat. We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside your hand, and you played it, you played it, you played it, you played it to the beat. Mr. Fogle, honoured guests, Miss Martin, governors, parents, family and friends, good morning. My name is Lucy Beck, and for the past 12 months I've had the great honour and privilege of being the head girl for King's Magna. This time last year I was sat in this very hall listening to Catherine Kelly, last year's head girl, deliver her speech. Whilst listening, I sat thinking what challenges lay ahead for my year when I began to wonder what on earth I was going to say when it came for my speech. Well, that time has well and truly arrived, and if I'm honest, I'm still not too sure what to say. Well, here it goes. First of all, I'd like to thank King's Magna staff for selecting me and trusting me with the great responsibility of head girl. I sincerely hope that I've delivered all that has been asked from me, and I hope a little bit more. King's Magna has made me the person that I am today, although my parents and grandparents are sat in the audience also. I suppose that I should, out of politeness, give them a very small bit of credit too. The highs and lows of my 3 years here at King's Magna has taught me things about myself I didn't know. I know about my strengths, I know about my weaknesses, I know what I'm good at, and I know how I can get better at the things where I'm not so strong. When I first arrived here in Year 7, I felt so small and overwhelmed by the school and its great size. However, from the very start, I was made to feel very welcome by my newfound friends, school staff, and house parents alike, who all went out of their way to help me both academically and emotionally. King's Magna has taught me many life lessons I will always remember. Maths has taught me to be determined, to work hard, and the importance of accuracy. PD has taught me to work hard on how to control my emotions when things weren't going my way. PE and gymnastics taught me to work hard as a team and the requirement to trust and rely on other people. Lastly, the geography trips. Well, coming from a part of the UK where the sunshine is only something you can see in pictures, I have learned the hard way to always put sun cream on, even if you don't think you need it. I think that life is like writing your very own book, and the good thing about writing your book is that you get to choose what happens in each and every chapter. Now you may be thinking, no we don't, life isn't fair, how do I get to choose what happens to me? But that's the thing. In life we do get to choose and how we will take something out of a situation. Of course life isn't always going to be fair, and sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. But whilst you may not get the result you want, you do get to choose how these results will affect you either positively or negatively. You decide what you will take out of any situation. You decide how you will learn from your mistakes. And King's Magna and my year as head girl has taught me this importance in life. I would like to close with some thanks. Firstly, thank you to the Deputy Head Girl, Alyssa Moyle. No words can accurately describe you, but I'll give it a try. Alyssa, you have been such an inspiration for me, and I have nothing but the highest admiration for you. In particular, your great sense of community and inclusive nature. To Fortune, the head boy, I couldn't have asked for a better person to lead with. Thank you for always watching my back and helping me in every possible way you could. To Miss Blakely, Miss O'Reilly, and Miss Adkins, thank you so much for helping me when I needed it and providing me with a sympathetic ear. Our talks definitely made a huge difference, and I wish all of you the best of luck in your new appointments. The next year's head girl, Lisa Levicka, I now hand you the baton and wish you the very best for your year. I will offer you one piece of advice. If you're sitting here wondering what you're going to say in a year's time, don't worry about it. It will all become clear in about 364.5 days. I know I wasn't able to say thank you to everyone, but I hope you all know that I do appreciate everything everyone's done for me. I would like to introduce Ben Fogle to the stage. He is a broadcaster, traveller and an adventurer. He has rowed the Atlantic Ocean, crossed the Antarctica on foot, run across the Sahara and crossed the empty quarter of on camel. He has presented numerous hits on the BBC, ITV and Channel 5, including New Lives in the Wild, Extreme Dreams, Countrywise, Harbour Lives and Through Hell and High Water and Crusts. He writes regularly for the Sunday Telegraph and has written 6 Sunday Times bestseller books. Have a great summer holiday, Mr. Ben Fogle.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Parents, pupils, distinguished guests, welcome. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Those were the words of Theodore Roosevelt, not my own. But the message there, for those who didn't get it, is that it really is the effort that counts. Today is a pretty monumental day for us all. a day about which future generations will learn, discuss, and write about for decades to come. Today is your legacy. It's also a lesson in how to deal with change. As a nation, we tend to have a rather pessimistic tendency to dwell on the negative. But my message to all of you here today is to focus on the positives. Optimism and hope will get you very, very far in life. You see, life is about contrasts, light and shade, warmth and cold, love and fear, success and failure. It's an inevitability of life that there will always be ups and downs, highs and lows, good times and bad times. Throughout these changes, though, the most important asset that you all have in life is yourselves. Your own personality and character, both the strengths and the flaws, makes each one of you in here today completely unique. You see, that uniqueness gives you personality. That personality gives you confidence. And with confidence, anything is possible in life. My advice to all of you is to be yourselves. Believe in yourselves, but also challenge yourselves. Be confident in who you are, and you really can take on the world. I have to admit here, I am neither academic, nor musical, nor very good at sports. As a child, some people are surprised to hear, I lacked any confidence in myself. I was blinded by the seeming perfection in all of those around me. But I believe religiously in the importance of taking yourself out of your comfort zone and pushing yourselves. Complacency is something that we're all culpable of, but it lulls us into this false sense of security. In my mind, if you haven't failed, you simply haven't been trying hard enough. As Winston Churchill once said, success consists of going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm. Over the years, I've certainly tested myself on a number of occasions, and I've certainly been tested. I've been arrested on the remote island of Pitcairn. I've been stabbed in Costa Rica. I was stranded in the high Andes. I was chased by the Royal Navy from the British Indian Ocean territories. I've helped repatriate East Timorese refugees and delivered aid to war-torn Baltic states. I've collared elephants and translocated rhinos. I've taken part in the World Stinging Nettle Eating Championships, very sore on the mouth, by the way, the World Worm Charming Championships, and the Lawnmower Racing Championships. I've accompanied Princes William and Harry to Botswana and the Arctic, and I followed a team of plastic surgeons from Great Ormond Street Hospital while they perform life-changing operations in Ethiopia. I've spent a year living on a deserted island. I've swum with crocodiles, trekked across poles and run across deserts. I've leapt out of aeroplanes, scaled mountains, and led more than 20 expeditions to places as remote and varied as Papua New Guinea, Svalbard, and the Arctic Circle. My life has certainly been as strange as it is varied. But why have I done it? Because life is full of opportunities, and I've used those opportunities, I'd argue, to make me a better person. Seize the moment. I like to look at life like a vast ocean. We're all standing on that beach looking at that limitless ocean. The horizon is there. We all get to choose our mode of transport. Now, many of us choose to never leave the comfort of that beach. And let's be honest, beaches can be very nice places to stay and play in the sand and wallow in the sea. Some of us take the simple and, some would argue, very logical option of an aeroplane to cross that ocean. Others decide to take a sailboat, using the wind to navigate them. Some put together a very flimsy little raft and just go hoping that the currents, the weather patterns will take them somewhere exciting. I chose a rather unusual mode of transport. I rode it. It was 10 years ago. I had already started working in television, but I still lacked confidence. I still wasn't confident in who I was. Everyone else was better than me. I was blinded by social media. You've already been warned about this. Some other advice: do not believe social media. It's a lie. Everyone projects what they want to project. It's not true. But I was caught up in this moment, and I wanted to show other people and perhaps prove to myself that there was more to me than this rather shy young man. And that's when I decided I would row across the Atlantic. Now, to put this into context, I'd never been sporting. I'd never run. I'd never played any team sports. I'd certainly never rowed before. So I signed up for this race. A little 20-foot rowing boat that you make yourself with glue. You glue it together. And then I was going to row this boat 3,500 miles across the ocean. I wasn't going to do it on my own. It would be a two-man boat, but I didn't have a rowing partner. And I forgot about it. 1 year before this race, and to put it into context, many people spend 7, 8 years training for this huge, epic effort. Some people spend up to 6 months rowing across an ocean. 1 year out, I still didn't have a rowing partner. I still didn't have a rowing boat. And I was out in London at an event, and there across the room, I spotted a very tall man. He was James Cracknell, Olympic rower. I recognized him because he'd just won his second Olympic medal in rowing. And my first thought was, well, there's a man who knows how to row. So I lost my inhibitions. I bounded up to him and I said, hello, James. You probably don't know who I am, but would you like to row the Atlantic Ocean with me? And he looked down at me. He had his gold medals around his neck. And he said, can you row? And I went, no, I've never rowed in my life. And he told me to go away in not such a polite term, I must say. But I persevered. I left him my details. And I must have planted some sort of thought in his mind, because he got back in touch with me a few weeks later. He wanted to discuss this crazy idea. James, the professional Olympian. I've no doubt there are plenty of future sportsmen and women in this room here today. You need determination if you want to make it as in the sporting world. James has been to 4 Olympic Games. 2 of them he didn't make at the last minute due to ill health. But that is 16 years of diligent training, getting up every day at 4 in the morning, rowing day in, day out. His whole life has been focused towards one single discipline. I, on the other hand, as you've already got I suppose you've got a slight understanding of, I like to have a go at everything. I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. And we talked about this very unusual pairing. Could it work? The focused sportsman and the slightly laid-back TV presenter, and we teamed up. The press described us as the odd couple. We had to become ocean yacht masters. We had to learn to navigate using the sun and the stars. We had to do sea survival courses. If we broke a bone out on the middle of the ocean, an ambulance couldn't reach us. We would be thousands of miles from anywhere. We had to learn to put fillings back in each other's teeth. We had a water desalinator to convert salt water into fresh water. We couldn't take enough bottles of water out there, obviously, with us. All the food that we would need for up to 6 months at sea had to be on this tiny boat. To put that into perspective, it's the same size as that table with those cups that we're going to be handing out shortly. It is a tiny, tiny little boat on an enormous ocean. The morning of the race, I think one little anecdote sums up my lack of preparation. You see, in all that preparation, it had all been very logical. It had all been about ticking boxes. We had passed all the courses we needed to do. We'd built the boat. I'd sort of forgotten to learn to row. And the morning of the race, there was a great deal of press interest. We'd had a very emotional goodbye from our parents. We knew we'd be away from them for a very long period of time on this dangerous ocean. And I put the oars in, cameras all around, and then I just felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was James. He said, Ben, you've put the oars in the wrong way round. And I think that really summed up just how ill-prepared we were for this race. Can you imagine the scenario? We decided that for the first 6 hours we'd row together, both James and I on the oars. James wanted to show the competition that we meant business. And then we'd break into a very simple routine. 2 hours on, 2 hours off. 2 hours on, 2 hours off. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for as many weeks and months as it would take us to row that ocean. We would never sleep for more than 40 minutes. When you weren't rowing, you had to help with the navigation. You were fixing things on the boat. You were organizing food. You were communicating with home. Sleep deprivation, as we would discover, would become a huge issue on that boat. But in the meantime, we had bigger problems. I remember climbing after that 6-hour session, looking at my hands. They were covered in blisters. They were bleeding. I had boils forming on my bottom. My back was aching. I was dehydrated. I was hungry. I was homesick for the first time since I started at boarding school when I was 12 years old. But above all, I was absolutely terrified because I realized I was stuck on this boat with a complete stranger. In all that preparation that James and I had had together, we had never got to know one another. It'd all been very academic, as I've already mentioned, box ticking. More significantly, we discovered that we had very different objectives in this race. James was there to compete. I was there to complete. James wanted to win this race. It didn't matter if we died halfway across, as long as we put in the hardest effort we could. Whereas I just wanted to cross that ocean. I didn't mind if it took a year, 2 years. Can you imagine already not wanting to be on that boat? Climbing into the tiny little cabin space that we nicknamed the coffin, because that's rather what it was like, and looking at the GPS, the sat-nav in there, and it had distance to run, 3,450 miles. Speed, half a mile an hour. That was my Everest moment. That was my brick wall. You're all going to come up against this wall in life, but you can climb over it. And we did. It took us a week. I've never wanted to be somewhere less in my life. It's amazing what goes through your head. First of all, the thing that kept us on the boat was the fear of the humiliation. We were not prepared to give in to our critics, who were convinced we were about to give up. My early childhood was almost the whole of my early childhood was about giving up. I gave up far too easily, and the point of going on that ocean was to overcome that character trait. But it's amazing what thoughts go through your mind. I thought if we could come up with an excuse for stopping this race, that would be worthwhile. I thought of sawing the boat in half and pretending it was a shark that had bitten us in half, or a whale had bumped into us, or throwing myself overboard so I had to be rescued, or throwing James overboard and not rescuing him. Everything went through my mind. But soon we adapted. And it's a good, I suppose that's a good message, especially for all the parents here today. We're living in pretty extraordinary times. We will get used to what's happened over the last few days. In this scenario, it took us about a week. I think it will take us a little bit longer than that, to be quite honest. But it took us a week to get used to life on board. And that's when this problem with our different objectives really hit home. Very different form of routine to work towards when you've got those different objectives. But that all came to nothing when the next problem beset our crossing, that of complacency. Complacency is another issue you're going to face in life. Complacency is where you become very comfortable with what you have. And that's what happened with James and I. We stopped stowing our gear around the boat. We stopped wearing life jackets. We stopped wearing safety harnesses. Nothing had happened so far. We were 6 weeks into this race. We were the kings of the ocean. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I was on the oars very early one day. The ocean was mountainous around us. Imagine waves far bigger than this room. You really do get desensitized to the turbulence of the Atlantic Ocean. Our tiny little boat on this huge sea, 2,000 miles from Europe, 1,000 miles from North America. And I noticed one wave getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the next thing I knew, there was a rush of cold water. The oars were ripped from my hand. We'd been capsized, pitch-poled, front over bottom. And I found myself pulled away from the boat, and I thought that was it. I was off to meet him. How could I get out of this? I was in the middle of the ocean. There was no shipping anywhere near us. I wasn't wearing a life jacket. To be honest, I wasn't wearing any clothes, but that's a whole other story. They provide terrible chafing when you're rowing, and there was no one out there to watch us, except the cameras. Anyway, I digress. There I was in the ocean, no sign of James. I'd invited him on this journey. It was my fault. It's amazing how your body just goes into automatic mode. Somehow I made it back to the boat. I was able to right it. James was there in the cabin, battered and bruised, but he was alive. I clambered aboard, and that was when I was ready to pull this whole expedition, pull the emergency button. Of course, no helicopters or aeroplanes can reach you out there, but you pull what's called an EPIRB, and ships can be diverted. I was ready to pull this, and James looked at me. He threw me a towel, and he said, right, you've got 30 minutes to dry yourself off, pull yourself together, and get back on those oars before we lose a race position. Hello, James. We've just nearly died. I don't know if you were aware of that. It was the best decision we could have made. Had we stayed there, rescue would have taken 2, maybe 3 weeks. We would have been capsized again. We were running low on food already. Despite losing almost everything, we'd lost our water desalinator, our electrics, we had no navigational aids, we'd lost our satellite phone. We still had our oars, and we had some emergency water in the bottom of the boat for such an eventuality. And what's incredible, that was the moment two strangers became firm friends. We had the same objective, and dare I say it, the crossing actually became vaguely enjoyable, despite it becoming that much harder. And somehow, 49 days later, we rowed that little boat into the harbour there. We were the first boat by a full 2 days. I think what that story proves is that if you put your mind to it, if you use your stubbornness, which we as human individuals all have, you really can achieve anything. I'd argue we're all now standing on that beach together today. It really is a brave new world, one full of uncertainty, but make no mistake, it's also full of plenty of hope. I'm going to leave you with a poem which I've used many times over the years. The writer is anonymous. It's called Risk. To laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to risk appearing sentimental. To reach for another is to risk involvement. To expose your ideas, your dreams before a crowd is to risk their loss. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To believe is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risks must be taken, because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The people who risk nothing, do nothing, have nothing, are nothing. They may avoid suffering and sorrow, but they cannot learn, feel, change, grow, love, nor live. Chained by their attitudes, they've effectively become slaves. They have forfeited their freedom, because only a person who risks is truly free. So, students, chin up, chest out, be kind, be open-minded, care for others, make compromises, share, work together, and believe. But above all, be hopeful, because every one of you out there can achieve your dreams if you only believe in yourselves. Thank you.
We can now begin our awards with the year prizes. These recognise the students in each year group who have consistently achieved high grades and examination scores across all subjects and in every assessment. These are very difficult to achieve, and I hope our 4 winners today feel proud of their recognition. The first academic prize is awarded to a Year 6 student for her outstanding achievement this year. Her teachers commend her for working hard in every lesson, constantly striving to improve and instantly acting on any feedback that she's given. This year has seen this student really give her very best to her academic life, even meeting the challenge of narrating the Year 6 class production of Othello. Her approach to everything this year has been to ensure that she always does the right thing, just because it is the right thing to do, and it has led her to shine in all of her lessons this year. Please can Macy Walsh come to the stage. The student receiving the Year 7 prize joined the King's Magna community at the beginning of this academic year and has since impressed us all from that very first day to now. Her teachers have noted her consistent and relentless efforts in all of her subjects, and I'm delighted that this is reflected in the grades she has achieved. Of a special note are her achievements in art, where she ends the year on a level 6, and mathematics, in which she has already achieved an exceptional level 8. To recognise not only these impressive achievements, but the outstanding grades she's received in each and every subject area, please can Arina Levitska step forward. In Year 8, the academic prize is awarded to a student who has performed at an outstanding level in all of her subjects this academic year. Her teachers commend her not only for her effort, but also for her exemplary attitude in all of her lessons. This Year 8 student should pride herself on her self-motivation and desire to attain her best in all that she does. She thoroughly deserves the impressive end-of-year assessment grades she received, gaining 5 examination grades at a level 7 and a further 2 at the exceptional performance level 8. For her academic achievements this year, we'd like to present the Year 8 prize to Rihanna Theakston. The recipient of the Year 9 Academic Prize is a young man who has excelled in many subjects this year. His teachers have praised him for the infectious positivity that he brings to the classroom and the consistent determination to do the best that he can in all that he does, and this includes in his extracurricular commitments to the CCF. One of his most impressive achievements this year was his success in the Bebra Oxford University Computing Challenge. Tom received an impressive 92%. The average score was only 42% in his age range, and out of the 27,000 students entered internationally, only 17 of those achieved 100%, placing him as one of the top performers for his age range. For his consistent academic achievement this year, please can Thomas Walsh come to the stage. Our next prizes are the Progress Prizes, and these are presented to students who have improved the most academically over the course of this year. We can see this through their performance in lessons, their assessments, and their examination scores. These next 4 students have shown enthusiasm for their studies this year, and we recognise their perseverance and determination to succeed. The recipient of the Year 6 Progress Prize has been described by her teachers as enthusiastic, determined and energetic, and the exceptional progress this year can only have been achieved by a combination of all 3. Upon first joining us in Year 6, she focused on improving her English, having studied previously in the Ukraine, but having mastered this in a very short time, she began to embrace every challenge she was presented with. She has consistently exceeded all targets we have set for her, and all of this alongside participating in the Gym and Dance Display and the KM Bake Off. For her progress and achievements this year, we would like to award the Year 6 Progress Prize to Nelly Levitska. The student receiving the Year 7 Progress Prize is a young man who teachers describe as a great asset to their classrooms. His lively, inquisitive and hard-working nature has led to fantastic progress this year. He's acclaimed by his form tutor as being the tutee with the most awards and celebration assemblies this year for both academic and extracurricular achievements. His talents have been recognised both in the sports teams and in the junior jazz ensemble, and he even entertained myself and all of the Year 9 at their end-of-year masquerade ball. While congratulations for all of his contributions this year are certainly in order, this prize is presented to Oliver Dowd as well for his excellent academic progress this year. The recipient of the Year 8 Progress Prize is a student who we've watched growing confidence in every aspect of his school life this year. The prize is awarded to her for exceptional progress in all subject areas, but with a special mention to her developments in mathematics, where she's shown outstanding skill, technique and talent. Due to exemplary conduct in and out of the classroom, she's also recently gained the post of Year 9 Prefect for next year, and has also represented her peers on the charity committee. Since joining us in Year 7, this student has continually strived to become the best that she can be with the gifts that she has. For her progress this year, we would like to award Fu Yi Zhu with the Year 8 Progress Prize. Our next set of awards are the King's Magna Subject Awards. As Year 9 prepare to leave King's Magna and move into Year 10, these awards provide departments and the school with the opportunity to recognise the students that have made exceptional contributions to their individual subject areas. They're a prestigious accolade, and I hope the students here today are very proud of their achievements. The recipient of the Art Award has impressed the department with her enthusiasm for art and how she has approached each task with confidence and curiosity. She's worked hard this year to develop her skills using a range of materials and techniques. Her use of clay has been particularly outstanding, her pencil skills are strong, and her analysis of the work of others shows confident use of artistic vocabulary. Across all of her subjects, this student has proved herself to be a capable and charming student with a desire to achieve. I am delighted to invite Abigail R. Singh to the stage to claim her Art Award. Achieving the award in computer studies is a student who has exceptional Year 9. She has made outstanding progress in a number of subjects, but has really excelled in computing. It has been a challenging course, completing the entry level in computing alongside learning about programming and completing written coursework and written assessments on computer theory, logic and binary. Her teachers have been particularly impressed with her ability to work independently, developing her skills so that she can assist her peers and showing a willingness to use her own ideas to extend set tasks beyond the curriculum. This year she should be proud of a particularly high score in the Bebra's Computational Thinking Challenge and her overall result for the course, an impressive 98%. Please can Aisling Robson step forward. The Design and Technology Prize is awarded to a member of the Year 9 Prefect team who has been an outstanding role model for all younger students this year. Within all of his lessons, he is positive and smart with a boundless desire to assist those around him. His DT teachers have commended him for his huge amount of hard work, determination and perseverance. Within DT, his computer-aided design skills have improved immensely over the year and he's now very adept at creating patterns and moulds using 2D design. These have been impressed with his consistent achievement and desire to keep improving. We would now like to present this prize to a young man whose contribution to King's Magna throughout many years deserves to be recognised. To collect his prize, we invite Henry Pybus to the stage. The recipient of the Drama Award has really excelled in this field this year. He has grown in confidence as a performer and a deviser, and his teachers credit him with the skill to handle difficult topics in a sensitive manner that creates some very thought-provoking pieces of theatre. This year, drama has dominated much of his time. He's starred in the whole school production and the King's Magna production, along with joining the senior school cast in our production of Bassett, a huge achievement for a King's Magna student. Receiving this award is a fitting conclusion to an illustrious career here in King's Magna. I am sure that he has made many people here very proud by attaining this award. For his contribution to the performing arts, please can Lewis Gibson come to the stage. The student receiving the English prize has really made quite remarkable progress in the subject this year. Through her studies, she's proved that she has an inquisitive mind and is always keen to attain new knowledge. Within English, her teachers credit her as being an accomplished reader with a real love of literature. She has a natural flair for expressing herself through varied vocabulary and can really apply critical terminology to literary discussions. For her achievements in English, please can Rebecca Simpson step forward. The recipient of the Geography Award has been described by many of his teachers as a real delight to have in the classroom. Within geography, he's impressed with his independent inquiry into natural hazards, and this reflects the motivation and positivity with which he approached every aspect of his geography study. Over this year especially, we have enjoyed watching the student grow in confidence. He's a popular presence within King's Magna and has been an excellent role model for our younger students. To collect the Geography Prize, we invite Edward Grogan to the stage. The History Award is presented to a student who has achieved excellently across all topics studied this year. Her impressive understanding of the subject, accurate use of historical terminology, and her ability to analyse and evaluate complex source material have culminated in a superb performance in the end-of-year examination. As a prefect in the King's Magna team, Laura has worked diligently to ensure that she performs in all of her duties to the highest possible standard, and she's really excelled in her role this year. We'd like to present the History Prize to Laura Allett. The Mathematics Prize is awarded to an extremely talented mathematician who has already been mentioned today. With subject knowledge that far exceeds his years, his enthusiasm for complicated mathematics is evident and impressive. His qualification to the national final of the Mathematics Challenge is a true testament to this. He should also be recognised for the positive impression he's made across all subjects, with his teachers complimenting his conscientiousness, polite conduct and academic aptitude. In between his achievements in mathematics, he also found the time to give back to the community by contributing to the charity project in Morocco. To receive his prize for outstanding achievement and progress in mathematics, please can Michael Tang come to the stage. Modern Foreign Languages present their award to a student who has shown excellent progress across all 4 disciplines of listening, speaking, reading and writing. She's learned the difficult skill of incorporating content, time phrases, opinions, reasons and comparisons into her written Spanish and has delighted her teachers with her willingness to challenge herself in order to improve. Her infectious positivity has really contributed to all of her classes as well as to her Year 9 prefect team throughout this year. It is a delight to ask Amy Liebenberg to step forward to receive the Modern Foreign Languages Award. It is no surprise that the gentleman receiving the Music Award has already played for you this morning. His enthusiasm and positivity for all things in his school life shines out in all that he does, but especially when you see him enjoying his music. His skills on the guitar are already advanced beyond his years. He's played with the senior instrumentalists throughout this year and has pushed himself to play an increasingly challenging repertoire. I'm looking forward to seeing him play more and more within our collegiate community, and to be presented with as a Music Award, we'd like to invite Ben Dowd as well to the stage. Dedicated and diligent are 2 of the words that teachers have used to describe the recipient of the Science Award. Alicia has excelled across the curriculum and has been a consistent presence in our speech days in the past and our celebration assemblies within this year. In science, she's been recognised for her effort and engagement with practical lessons, alongside her superb understanding of the content covered in all 3 scientific disciplines. Her achievement of an impressive level 7 in her end-of-year examination and her consistently high grades throughout this year make her a deserving recipient. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank her for her service to the school as our Deputy Head Girl. She's been a reliable and trusted student in King's Magna this year, and I would personally like to thank both her and our Deputy Head Boy Patrick Kelly for their commitment and dedication to their roles. Ending Year 9 and her time in King's Magna in a way that she truly deserves, please can Alicia Moyo come to the stage. We would now like to move to achievement within girls' sport. The recipient of this award has been described as a true example to her peers. She's resilient, reliable and hardworking. As the year has gone on, her confidence and enjoyment of all sports has increased yet again, and her performance in all areas has improved as a consequence. She is a constant presence in school sports teams and has conducted herself excellently as her position as prefect requires. She's shone out this year as a fantastic role model for our younger students. Wherever she goes, she conducts herself beautifully, the perfect combination combination of energy, friendliness and spirit. For all of her contribution to the sports community of Kings Magna, please can Phoebe Borrowdale step forward. The final individual prizes are awarded to students who have significantly contributed to the wider community of our school. These 5 awards allow Kings Magna to recognise the effort that these students have gone to and to celebrate their dedication they've shown to different aspects of the school. We would firstly like to recognise 2 students without whom Kings Magna would not be the school that it is today. They've led the prefect team to greater achievements than ever before. They've developed aspects of the school with their innovative ideas, and they have never faltered in their constant enthusiasm. This next award is presented to the head girl of Kings Magna. As you've already seen today, she is quite an inspirational student. She said in her speech that she hoped she'd made us proud in her role, and I can tell you here today that she most certainly has done all that we could have expected her and more. Her maturity and quiet dignity have made her an excellent figurehead for our community. Her care of the younger students, relationships with her teachers and respect for her peers have all contributed to her success. However, it is her determination to ensure that her voice is heard that has made me the most proud. She's a young woman with a vision and an opinion, and most importantly, the ability to convey this in a way that makes people want to listen. I look forward to seeing her academic journey continue into Key Stage 4 and watching her successes unfold. Receiving the Heads Prize for Head Girl is Lucy Beck. We now move to present the award to the head boy of Kings Magna. Unlike Lucy, he still has his speech to give to you today, but I don't think he will mind if I say that it focuses on memories. What he won't expect is my return of these memories, as I remember Fortune on the day that he arrived. Fortune began his Kings Magna journey as a very quiet young man who seemed very excited about the prospects of what lay before him. However, I think what he has achieved since then has certainly surpassed any expectations he may have had at the time. He has proved himself to be a true Kings Magna gentleman and combines his effortless charm with excellent academic achievement in lessons and a positive attitude to all that he does. I look forward to seeing him continue to make a success of himself in Key Stage 4 next year. Receiving the Heads Prize for Head Boy is Fortune Eckenham. The next young man receiving the prize for commitment to extracurricular, but this is not just what he deserves recognition for. Alex is a true perfectionist in all that he does and truly strives to be the very best that he can be. He approaches each day with a smile, and his unwavering politeness and respect for others has earned him the very best reputation amongst both staff and students alike. In his extracurricular, he's excelled himself, taking part in a very diverse range of activities, including being an incredibly talented archer. He's committed himself to every activity with an almost faultless attendance record and has received the highest level of praise from each activity leader he has worked with. He has truly committed himself to gaining everything he can from his school experience, and I really look forward to continuing to watch him excel in Year 10. Please can Alexander Schoolras step forward. The Hill Standard Award is an award that represents the very heart of Kings Magna and is presented each year to a student who we feel exemplifies the high standards of behaviour, attitude and appearance that we expect from our students. It is no exaggeration to say that this year's recipient has been faultless in her attitude and conduct around the school this year. She's excelled in lessons academically, taken part in our drama productions and made an impressive contribution to our community in so many ways. She's spent every day tirelessly trying to be the best that she can be with the gifts that she has, and I think she should go into Year 10 confident that this year she really has been the best that she could have possibly been. To collect the Hill Standard Award, we invite Elisabetta Reliva to come to the stage. The final student to receive recognition individually today is a student who I remember meeting before she started. Her journey has been quite a remarkable one, culminating in this award today. She's a very modest young lady who was unsure about why she deserved this award. So Sophie, I will share the reasons with you now. Every day, Sophie presents herself with a smile and gives 100% to every single lesson. She's strived to complete everything to the best of her ability, including sitting her GCSE German examination just weeks ago, an impressive 2 years early. As a prefect, she's fulfilled the role in every way we could have wanted. She's found no request too arduous and completed every task with a smile. She's taken care of many of our younger students, ensuring that they have someone there in a time of need. She's contributed fully to the extracurricular life of the school and represented us at many open days. She's looked after the students on taster days for me and has even had to show around VIPs without any notice or warning, often thanks to me. So after years of doing above and beyond for the school without even realising she has been doing it, it is my pleasure to present the Service to the School Award to Sophie Strabel. We have one last award to present today, but it is to a group of students, not to an individual. This final accolade is always the most anticipated by students and staff alike. Throughout the year, the four houses compete against each other to win the prestigious award, the House Cup. The students compete in many activities, from timetables challenges to poetry competitions, in sports and in drama, to claim victory for their house. Led by a member of staff and the Year 9 house captains, this year has seen the house competitions fought over more fiercely than ever before. So without further ado, in fourth place is Le Minge. In third place, we have Derwent. With Ioffawick and Cantwara remaining before I announce the winner of the House Cup 2016, please can I ask that we give the second place house a round of applause. So in first place, and the winner of the House Cup 2016 is Ioffawick. Please can our representatives from Ioffawick come to the stage to collect the House Cup. Put your hand up if you are in Ioffawick. Okay, we've got someone coming up. There we go. Well done, Alex.
Mr. Fogle, honoured guests, Miss Martin, governors, parents, family and friends, good morning. My name is Fortune Ekanem, and for the past 12 months, I've had the great privilege and honour of being the head boy of King's Magna. My experience in King's Magna has been exhilarating in many ways. I've developed into a confident young man, all thanks to the helpful and supportive community here in King's Magna. I've made so many memories during my time in King's Magna that I will treasure for the rest of my life. I would also like to thank my friends for making my time here so exciting and memorable, as they have also played a big role in helping me during my time in this great school. Finally, I would like to thank my family for their great support and the opportunity they have given me. I would also like to wish next year's prefects the best of luck. I would like to pass a thin piece of advice. Always contribute to discussions, as your ideas and opinions may help to improve the experience for the whole community. I would like to thank Mr. Fogle for his inspirational speech, and we would like to award him with a gift for joining us today. I hope you all have a well-deserved summer break. Thank you for listening.